In this video, we will see why you need to get rid of certain things ASAP. Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle of negative emotions, as if you were carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders? Does resentment eat away at your soul? Does attachment to material things prevent you from finding true happiness? Does fear of the future paralyze you? Does judgment of others isolate you? Does ego blind you? Does the pursuit of perfection frustrate you? Does procrastination steal a lot of your time? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this story is for you. Imagine being able to free yourself from these burdens, rediscover your true nature, and live a life filled with meaning and serenity. Imagine being able to face life's challenges with courage and wisdom, cultivate authentic relationships, and discover the joy that resides in your heart. And if you stick around until the end, you'll discover the 7 secrets to achieving inner peace and spiritual growth. So sit back and relax. But before continuing, if you are not one of us yet, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to know when we publish new content for your personal growth. The morning sun rose majestically behind the mountains, painting the clouds floating in the clear sky with pink and orange. A group of pilgrims, coming from every corner of the kingdom, approached the monastery with a slow and respectful step, an oasis of peace and serenity nestled among the green hills. Their faces, marked by the wrinkles of time and the worries of life, reflected the hope and thirst for knowledge that had pushed them to undertake this long journey. Arata, the venerable Buddhist monk, was waiting for them, sitting under an ancient fig tree, his figure surrounded by an aura of calm and wisdom. His eyes, deep and luminous, seemed to penetrate the soul of each person, reading their thoughts and their most hidden fears. "Welcome, dear pilgrims," Arata said in a warm, enveloping voice, like a caress on the skin. "I am honored that you have undertaken this journey to seek me. I know that you carry with you the weight of many worries, and today I will share with you a teaching that will help you find inner peace and cultivate your spiritual growth." The pilgrims sat in a circle, forming a wave of attention and listening. The silence was broken only by the singing of birds and the rustling of leaves in the wind. "There are 7 things," Arata began, slowly raising 7 fingers that obscure our true nature like clouds obscure the sun. By freeing ourselves from these, we can rediscover our inner light and live a life full of meaning and serenity. And there is no better time than now to begin this process of liberation. Resentment is the first thing you must get rid of because it is a real poison that corrodes the soul, the monk continued. Resentment is like a poisonous snake that nests in our heart. Holding a grudge against those who have hurt us and imprisoned us in the past consumes us from the inside and prevents us from living fully in the present. It is like drinking the poison and hoping that the other person will die. A young woman among the pilgrims, her eyes shining, raised her hand. "Master," she said in a trembling voice, "my brother hurt me deeply years ago, and I cannot forgive him. The resentment is eating me up." Arata gave her a compassionate smile. "Dear sister, I understand your pain, but remember, forgiveness is not a gift you give to the one who hurt you, but a gift you give to yourself. Imagine resentment as a heavy stone you carry on your heart. Forgiveness means dropping that stone and freeing your heart to make room for peace and healing. Don't forget the Buddha's words. Holding a grudge is like holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone. You are the one who gets burned." Attachment to material things is the second thing the old monk spoke about. Attachment to material things is like a golden net that traps us in the illusion of happiness. Arata continued, "We believe that possessing more and more will make us happy, but in reality, it only makes us slaves to desire and dissatisfaction. It is like chasing a mirage in the desert. The closer we get, the further it recedes. An old man nodded slowly. Master, I have spent my whole life accumulating wealth, but I have never found true happiness. Now, in my old age, I realize how foolish I have been. Arata placed a hand on his shoulder. Dear brother, it is never too late to change. True wealth is not found in the things you possess, but in simplicity, gratitude, and sharing. Learn to live with less and give generously. You will find that true happiness lies in freedom from attachment. As an ancient proverb says, he who is content with what he has is rich. Fear of the future is like a shadow that paralyzes us, Arata said, introducing the third thing that should be eliminated from one's life. Fear of the future is like a menacing shadow that follows us everywhere, paralyzing us and preventing us from living fully in the present, Arata said. It's like crossing an imaginary bridge and worrying about falling instead of enjoying the view. A young mother, with her baby in her arms, looked up worriedly. Master, I am afraid for my son's future. The world is full of dangers and uncertainties. Arata smiled softly. Dear sister, fear is natural, but don't let it control you. The future is uncertain for everyone, but every moment brings new opportunities. Focus on the present, love your child, and teach him to face life with courage and confidence. Remember that happiness is not found in controlling the future, but in living fully in the present. As the Buddha said, the problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude toward the problem. Judgment of others is another point addressed by the wise monk, a true wall that separates us. Judgment of others is like a wall we build around ourselves, isolating us from compassion and understanding, Arata explained. It's like looking at the world through a dirty window. We only see the imperfections, not the beauty that surrounds us. A man in his 40s looked down ashamed. Master, I realize how often I judge others without even really knowing them. Arata looked at him kindly. Dear brother, we all fall into the trap of judgment. But remember, everyone has their own story, their own struggles, and their own reasons. Instead of judging, try to understand. Cultivate compassion and empathy, and you will find that the world is full of beauty and humanity. As the old saying goes, before you judge a person, walk for 3 moons in their moccasins. The ego is like an arrogant king that sits on the throne of our mind, always claiming to be the center of attention and always right. Arata said of another aspect to eliminate from our lives. It's like a wild horse that drags us wherever it wants, instead of letting us be guided by our true nature. A middle-aged woman among the pilgrims sighed deeply. Master, my ego causes me so much internal conflict. I always feel like I'm competing with others, and I'm afraid of making mistakes. Arata gave her an encouraging smile. Dear sister, the ego is a harsh master, but we can learn to tame it. Cultivate humility, open-mindedness, and a willingness to learn from others. You will find that true wisdom lies in liberation from the ego. As Lao Tzu said, to know others is intelligence. To know oneself is true wisdom. To master others is strength. To master oneself is true power. The pursuit of perfection is an illusion that imprisons us, Arata continued. It is like a labyrinth with no exit, an illusion that only brings us frustration and dissatisfaction. It is like trying to catch a rainbow. The closer we get, the more it fades. And a young man, looking sorrowful, raised his hand. Master, I always feel inadequate, as if I am never good enough or perfect enough. Arata placed a hand on his shoulder. Dear brother, perfection is a mirage. Accept your imperfections, learn from your mistakes, and celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. True growth comes from self-acceptance and the will to improve, not from the pursuit of an unattainable ideal. As an ancient Japanese proverb says, even from the most beautiful pitcher, a drop falls. Procrastination is like a silent thief that steals our time, opportunities, and the chance to realize our dreams. Aratha said of another thing to eliminate from your life. It's like planting a seed and then waiting for it to grow on its own, without watering it or taking care of it. A man in his 30s nodded guiltily. Master, I always put things off until tomorrow, and then I find myself overwhelmed and frustrated. Aratha looked at him sympathetically. Dear brother, procrastination is a bad habit, but we can overcome it. Start small, set realistic goals, and celebrate every little bit of progress. Remember, the best time to act is now. Don't let procrastination rob you of your chance to live a full and meaningful life. As the old saying goes, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today, because tomorrow you may not be there anymore. The pilgrims listened in silence, Aratha's words resonating deep in their hearts like a mantra of liberation. They had found the guide they were looking for, the map to free themselves from the burdens that oppressed them and begin their journey towards inner peace and spiritual growth. Aratha stood, his gaze taking in the entire group. Dear pilgrims, remember that liberation from these 7 things does not happen overnight. It is an ongoing process, a journey of discovery and growth, but each step you take toward freedom will bring you closer to your true nature, to the happiness and serenity you have always sought. The sun was setting, painting the sky with fiery hues. The pilgrims thanked Aratha with deep gratitude and bowed in respect. As they left the monastery, they felt light and full of hope. Their journey had just begun, but now they had the tools to face life's challenges with courage and wisdom. And so they returned to their homes, carrying Aratha's teachings with them like precious gems. Along the way, they encountered difficulties and obstacles, but whenever they felt overwhelmed by resentment, attachment, fear, judgment, ego, the pursuit of perfection, or procrastination, they remembered the wise monk's words and found the strength to move forward. Over time, they learned to forgive, to live simply, to face the future with confidence, to understand others, to tame their egos, to accept their imperfections, and to act with determination. And as they gradually freed themselves from the 7 burdens, they discovered the true inner peace, joy, and freedom they had always dreamed of. Their lives transformed, relationships improved, worries vanished, and happiness blossomed in their hearts like a lotus flower. And whenever they felt lost or confused, they would return in their minds to the monastery, to Aratha's words, and find their way back to their true essence. Because, as the wise monk had said, there is no better time than now to begin the journey to liberation. And every step we take toward freedom brings us closer to our true nature, to the happiness and serenity we have always sought.